Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Buzzing story this weekend. Meteorite fragment said to be older than Earth hits Georgia home. June 26, 2025. And a lot of mainstream media saved this story for 44 days later and covered it on Saturday, August 9th. Now, if you're new here, you might be a little bit puzzled, but if you're a veteran, you already see the whole thing. Georgia and 44. We call it the 44 state. Just yesterday, we capitalized again on Georgia and 44 as the Braves became 4-4 versus the Marlins for the year. The other day, the Marlins pitcher fell to 4-4 for the year, losing to the Georgia team, the Braves. Of course, Hank Aaron, the Braves legend, number 44, and a million other things. MLK, Georgia legend, killed on 4-4. We're going to come back to how 44 also has a lot to do with space and the greatest space accomplishment known to man, so we're told. But again, the point is to learn about news by the numbers. I also want to talk a bit more about Trump meeting with Putin on the Jesuit order's birthday, when I've been showing how these two men are nothing but Jesuit stooges for a very long time. A great point was made by somebody in the community yesterday that this year marks the 158th anniversary since the U.S. purchased Alaska from Russia, and Trump and Putin are going to meet in Alaska, reportedly, on the date 15th of August. The majority of the world writes that date 15/8, like 158. Talk more about why that number matters. You might have saw the actor John Leguizamo. I always forgot to say his last name, but you recognize his face. He seems like he's in every movie. He called Dean Cain a loser for joining ICE. Remember, both of these people are actors, and the world is a stage, and a big part of the world being a stage is it's meant to get you caught up in the theater and taking sides and pointing fingers and forgetting what the real mission at hand is. We're going to talk about why it was John L. We'll just call him John L., not to be confused with John Legend, the guy who tells you to go get the pokey-dokes. But why John L. was clearly chosen for this ritual, it couldn't be any more obvious. We're also going to say RIP to the child actor Jeffrey Lewis Star, who was in the Bad News Bears, the Cubs, having a great season, sync with the Pope. And, of course, football getting underway. That city of Chicago, where the Pope's from, they got those double Bears connections. They got the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Cubs. And then also, I pointed out that I thought somebody connected to Addams Family was going down because it happened last time. Wednesday, released as a Netflix show. Now season 2's out, and they delayed season 2. It was going to come out earlier this year, and they delayed it to August 6th, 86 days before Halloween. Of course, the Addams Family, Halloween, they go hand in hand. But I noticed that Christopher Lloyd is 86 years old. He was Uncle Fester in the Addams Family movies, and he actually has a character in this season. He didn't have a character in season 1, but he does in season 2, and his character named Professor Orloff equates to 86. So, and don't forget, just the whole Back to the Future thing, how they've synced up Trump's rigged selection with Back to the Future yet again, where Biff Tannen, the character, is based on Donald Trump. But yeah, we're going to get into all this and more. I want to start right here, though, with a challenge to the one known as the hair puller. Yes, this man, he lost his ability to substitute teach because he pulled the hair of a student and then shoved them once upon a time just before Christmas. Where is the holiday cheer? But yeah, let's listen to this guy right here. And there's a reason I'm going to play this, because I want to remind people there's a lot of people online that are just totally fake, and they deceive people. And if you think I'm totally fake and I'm deceiving people, you must be new here, because I've been the same person, proving the same points day after day for going on 12 years straight. Let's listen to what a fraud sounds like.
I'm never going to change, guys. I'm never going to switch up. I'm always going to be the truth seeker and truth teller that I am. And I'm never going to, be all formal like Afro nerd and professional so I can get certain people on. Hey, if you don't like me, go kick rocks. So Imagine me, right?
We're just skipping ahead about 5.5 minutes after he made that statement saying he's a truth seeker. He stole that from yours truly. Listen to what he says 5.5 minutes later. Just listen.
Imagine me. And this is how you know I'm never going to sell out. let's talk about Zach. Gematria is bullshit. It will always be bullshit to me. But imagine me taking
Now keep in mind, he's been aware of this work for 9 months, and for 9 months he's seen me do nothing but prove the same point over and over. I had this man circle all the 44 dates at the start of the year. We took the time to go through the whole calendar. He's watched the deadly rituals unfold because he said one of the mass shootings is going to happen. I said, let's just go through and circle all the 44 dates and also keep Wednesdays in mind. So many of those dates we circled, it's already happened over and over and over again, and he's acknowledged it a few times, but then he'll come back and say things like this. This is what a fraud looks like. But let's continue to listen to the fraud.
Gematria seriously one day. That's selling out. That's selling out. Imagine if Zach says behind closed doors, hey man, I'll give you $500,000 to shut the blank up and pretend like this shit is real. That's selling out. That's selling out. And that's exactly what Howard did.
He's talking about Howard Stern. This is a guy who goes around with a Trump hat on. You can see it in the background there, bottom right corner. But again, the quality of this man's character. Doesn't share with you his real name. Has put on about 8 different personalities in his decade on YouTube. Go back to the beginning, he was trying to be like a Black Panther. Now he's Clayton Bigsby. He's gone all the way from a Black Panther to Clayton Bigsby. He's done a complete 180, literally, as he tells you that he'll always be him. It's like, what is you? Black Panther all the way to Clayton Bigsby. Wow, that's, for people who don't know who Clayton Bigsby is, it's one of Dave Chappelle's first skits where he's a blind black man who hates black people and goes around yelling white power. That's essentially what the goon on the screen does. But yeah, the same guy who lost his substitute teaching credential for physically assaulting a student. So again, be careful to these people on the internet, because if somebody doesn't show you this kind of stuff, you don't know this to be true about them, do you? You don't know that they're this kind of person, the kind of person that would assault a child in the classroom. Same type of person that would go online to you and lie to you every day and tell you they're a truth teller. So that same person I'm talking about, he says that his favorite subject is space. He loves space. And he hates gematria. But look at this. This story was saved for August 9th. Pretty much all the media covered this yesterday on August 9th. And it happened June 26th near Atlanta in Georgia. There's a lot to say about this, but I'm just going to skip down to right here. From June 26th to August 9th, you see everybody covered this on August 9th. Everybody saved the story for 44 days later. And in Gematria, space equals 44, so does Georgia. Keep in mind the name Armstrong equals 44, like Cancer. And think of Neil Alden Armstrong on the moon, ruled by Cancer in the closing days of Cancer in 1969, when the astrological symbol for Cancer is 69. This isn't an accident. It's proof, more proof, not that we need any more proof, of how the news is executed by a code every single day. How many times did we talk about 44 in Georgia just in the past week before this happened? If you're on the sports stream, you know we talked about it pretty much every single day and patted our pockets. You had the mass shooting on Wednesday. Wednesday's the day of the week that equals 44, like shooting, like military, like officer, like infantry, like trooper. Again, it was a military personnel that shot other military personnel, where the story radically changed from the time it broke to the time that it finished. It initially began with people were killed, and then it was just people were injured. But then just 2 days later, on Friday, you have the shooting at Emory and the CDC and a CVS pharmacy, when CVS equates to 44. And there was a whole lot more to that ritual, which we already covered. But the point is, a lot of 44 in a week in Georgia, which really is nothing new. Again, from Hank Aaron to MLK to a million other things, 44 has always been prevalent with this location and also with the space program and its rituals. And this is a story that speaks to space, an object, a meteorite coming down from space into Georgia. Now, what a critic would say is they'd go through and they'd see that all these stories broke on August 9th, but then they go, well, wait a minute. Fox 5 Atlanta reported on this on the 4th of July in the time of Cancer. And again, that is true, but all the major media saved this story for yesterday, August 9th. The thing about the 4th of July, remember how on the 4th of July we had 2 celebrity deaths that broke in the news? The Chicago White Sox former closer and the Fantastic Four actor, both dead from cancer, which again equals 44, like chemo, like kill. But the thing about the 4th of July is that date can be written 4-7. Meteorite equals 47. So it was a fitting date for them to report on it that day as well, and realize that still wasn't the day it supposedly happened, June 26th. Nobody reported on this when it happened, and why? Why did it take so long to report on? Why did they have to report both times astrologically? Or not astrologically, well, it's sort of numerologically, and in the first instance, astrologically. Again, we know the answer why. News by the numbers all day, every day. So here's the hair puller who loves space. How do you debunk something like this? What's your explanation for why it was saved for 44 days later? Because I've been talking about, I wrote a book about it. I have a book about space rituals in 44 that came out almost a decade ago. So you let me know. You let me know how that's bullshit. And then with regards to educating this same guy right here about the Jesuits over and over and how they run the show, well, and I've told him 1,000 times how all the major rituals that have happened on August 15th, from the gold standard to the date that Japan surrendered, essentially ending World War II, to what recently happened with us exiting Afghanistan and a million other things. Recently, Donald Trump, Jesuit educated, his brother died on this day, August 15th. Now he's meeting Putin on this day. Putin, who just sat down with Tucker Carlson with his red Kabbalah bracelet on, talking about how it's the history of the Catholic and Orthodox Church that has everything to do with what's going on between Russia and Ukraine right now. But look at this. It's going to be the 158th anniversary later this year of Russia selling Alaska to the U.S. for $7.2 million. Imagine that. Imagine that. What's Alaska worth today? But notice it was $7.2 million. Putin's 72 years old, of course, in Gematria. President Trump in Jesuit order equals 72. And remember, I always talk about this Jesuit Masonic alliance. Many of the rites of Freemasonry were written by Jesuit priests. D.C. is known as the Masonic City, but it's where the Jesuits set up camp before the feds even moved there. George Washington, the Mason, died with the Jesuit priest at his side. Anyhow, August 15th, the day leaving 138 days left near the Jesuit order's birthday. They were created in Paris, France, August 15th, 1534. Notice also, before the sale on October 18th, it was a follow-up to a treaty made between Russia and the U.S. on March 30th, 1867, earlier that year. If you measure from that anniversary date to their meeting, it's 138 days later, on the day leaving 138 days left in the year, when Donald Trump equals 138, so does federal. And again, we've covered a million rituals with Trump in 138. His first firing this year when he took office was a woman who'd been in office for exactly 138 weeks. But yeah, 138, and then also the 158 thing connects with Freemasonry, and the roots of this nation go back to a lot of Masons. Masonry's based in Kabbalah. Where's the whole thing of letters and numbers come from? It comes from Kabbalah. Who's had the knowledge of Kabbalah since the Crusades? The Church. Who's behind modern Freemasonry? The Jesuits. How all these things align. We're on the Jesuit calendar. Again, in the 16th century, their century, they gave us the calendar in standardized English. Seems impossible to deny that they synced up a system where this is how they execute world stage rituals that control the minds of the masses every day. And you've never heard this guy ever say more than this as he tries to take a shot at my work. Listen to this is his supposed debunk right here of Gematria. Take a listen to what a fraud sounds like.
Imagine me, right? Imagine me, and this is how you know I'm never going to sell out. Let's talk about Zach. Gematria is bullshit. It will always be bullshit to me. But imagine me taking Gematria seriously one day. That's selling out. That's selling out. Imagine if Zach says behind the closed doors, "Hey man, I'll give you $500,000 to shut the blank up and pretend like this shit is real." That's selling out. That's selling out. And
that's selling out. Again, just total fraud of an individual. And I know somewhere around here, another guy who's supportive of my work and cannot stand this spoon, he calls in and says exactly what's true. Just listen to this older gentleman here call in and call him out.
Those are 4 or 3 different personas based on my observation. They're just different personas. Look how long you've been doing what you've been doing. There's reels out there with you from 2, 3, 4 years ago. And I look at your metamorphosis to where you are now. Those are 4 or 3 different personas based on my observation. They're just different personas. And I think you lean toward where the barometer or the temperature in podcasting and because of the other personalities.
Yeah. Again, the reason he's saying that is because his whole stream is about how he's a true authentic person and he's never going to change. It's like, is he serious? I mean, your personality has changed from Black Panther wearing all black with an African flag behind you, talking about black justice and all this, to now being literally a Clayton Bigsby, ripping on black people. You know, it's a white man's world because white people are superior. This is the kind of stuff he talks about now. You know, the only thing that really matters in the world is the white woman. These are the kind of things he says on his show. It's just like, yeah, you're a real straight shooter. And, you know, gentleman right there calling out, he's like, listen, just going over the years, you can see that you've done 4 totally different personas. Again, you go over the years from me, I've been the exact same from day one. Talking about the same message, proving my point day after day. You can go back to the earliest videos and we're talking about space rituals in 44. Here's another one. More proof that they report by the numbers. Not to mention all the other things encoded into the date it supposedly happened, the date of the news. I mean, there's a lot of other things to say there, but we'll just keep it simple. And with regards to this right here, you know, I've been talking about how ICE was established on the 60th day of the year, like Donald Trump equals 60. Like we've never heard so much about ICE until after this 60th election, which we told you years ago was going to be rigged for Trump, who served French fries, which equals 60 on Kamala's 60th birthday. Look at this whole ritual. The day that he called Dean Cain a loser, it was 17 days after his birthday, August 8th. ICE equals 17 forwards and backwards. And with regards to the whole ICE 60 thing, look at the actor's name, 60, in the same cipher as Donald Trump. If you run his name the other way, it equals 66, like the word loser. He's calling Dean Cain a loser. And something I didn't know about is, in light of Dean Cain formerly being Superman, what he's known for, I didn't know that in the new Superman movie, it takes on a pro-immigrant stance. So I'm going, okay, so now they got the old Superman actor coming out and saying, oh, I'm busting the illegals. You can just see this whole thing is just a show. Again, the world is a stage. You learn this code. You see through the ritualism every single day, and why it's John Leguizamo. I gotta stop trying to say his last name because I forget how it's said, but everybody knows this man's face. I don't think anybody's been in more movies. I think this guy might have the record for most acting credits. And you know what blows me away? I can't believe he's 65. I can't believe he's 65 years old, which also means he's in his 66th year of life. Like his name also equals 66, like loser. Anyway, another thing, football season's getting underway. The Cubs are doing really well. 61 is the 18th prime number. Bears equals 18. This child actor from the Bad News Bears is dead at 61. Don't forget that baseball equals 18. It's like Roger Maris hitting 61 home runs in 1961, setting the baseball record for the time. But yeah, known for the Bad News Bears and dead at 61. And they saved the story for quite a minute. His brother had to post at 4:07. The Bad News Bears, look at that. In light of his brother's post about his death at 4:07 a.m., look at what day the Bad News Bears came out, 4/7. I mean, come on. But he died on July 25th, 25/7, like blood sacrifice is 257. 257 is the 55th prime. Chicago Bears is 55. They saved this news for quite a while after his death. And you know, right before the Bears start their season with the preseason game, which is happening today, seemingly synced with the Chicago Pope. And then again, just I said, somebody connected to the Addams family is probably going down because we know what 86 means. It means blood sacrifice, human sacrifice. The new Wednesday comes out on 8/6, 86 days for Halloween, and lo and behold, 86-year-old Christopher Lloyd is in the show. And his character name equals 86. And again, he used to be Uncle Fester. And I've seen the first episode of the new season. Christopher Lloyd's character's in there. It's just his head. It's his head talking in a glass jar. But, which also seems a little bit symbolic. Just a reminder. This is what happened the first time Wednesday came out. The original Wednesday actress, Lisa Loring, died at 64, and quite symbolic because her name equals 64. And the Addams Family came out in 64, and it ran through 66, and it ran 64 episodes. And from the release of the first season of Wednesday to the death of Lisa Loring was 66 days. Ortega's 66. That's the surname of the new actress playing Wednesday. Again, Wednesday's got that fateful 44 like kill. And by the way, with regards to fateful 44, look at what they had to put in the article about the Bad News Bears actor. Right down here, they have to point out that he was married to his wife for 44 years, which must mean he got married at age 17, starting young. Well, yeah, just par for the course. And don't forget, Jenna Ortega has that September 27th birthday, the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by the Roman Catholic Church on the day leaving 95 days left in the year when their original mission was to counter the 95 Theses. But yeah, to anyone who says this work's bullshit, you got to explain why it's bullshit when we're showing stuff like this every day. A show that ran 64 episodes, they came out in 64, the new Wednesday's out, and then the real Wednesday, the original Wednesday's is dead at 64. One of a gazillion examples we could point to for what's going on in the entertainment industry. And you got spoons like this, saying that what selling out is, it would be endorsing. Let's just hear it one more time from the spoon.
Imagine me, right? Imagine me, and this is how you know I'm never going to sell out. Let's talk about Zach. Gematria is bullshit. It will always be bullshit to me. But imagine me taking Gematria seriously one day.
Yeah. Here, I'll tell you what the real definition of a sellout is. Anybody trying to denounce this work because it can't be done, just like this goon can't do it. All he can do is talk shit, but he can't prove a single point he says. All he can do is ignore all the facts. And a fraud of a human being. And I'd say everybody who denies this work is just like him, fraud of a human being. Might as well be in a classroom assaulting children because you're on that kind of level. Anytime you try to assault this knowledge, the kind of knowledge that could have saved a lot of children's lives, a lot of people's lives at this point in the game. Had everybody followed my lead when 2020 came around, it would have been a whole new ball game. The world would be in a lot better spot. And that's an absolute fact. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And until next time.